Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie with me, Richard Vobes, here at the helm of the Vobes Show, gently washing its way down the current of the Vobosphere. Yes, we are shooting through life's rich tapestry, and I am somehow steering us through the craggy rocks as the seas wash against us and bash us against the sides of the bank. A terrible thing to happen, but we'll get there somehow. And look out for icebergs. If you see any icebergs, do let me know, for I have a martini, shaken, not stirred, and ready to have a few ices and cherries shoved in. Not that I drink, don't know what I'm talking about. It's the 28th, or is it the 29th? Well, it's the 29th tomorrow. May have made a slight mistake there when I typed in the details of today's show. However, I don't even know if it still says we're 7 hours hence, so who knows. Anyway, we're live, I'm live, on Facebook, and not on Facebook, and even on a tube of views. Yes, a tube of toothpaste. Who knows what it is? But we're here, and you're here with me. 45 people are here, so how lovely is that? Well, that is very lovely. In fact, I just need to do that, because I realised the subscribe button was obscuring a very strategically placed item, and nobody can see it. Hello to Kevin's Rambles. Hello to you, Kevin. To Ernie, to Andy Friesen, to Linda Kane, to Bread Loud. Bread Loud? The word Richard mustn't mention. Ho, ho, ho. What do you mean, Bread Loud? I think he's Ed, isn't he? Turbo Stream, good evening to you and to Kevin's Rambles, who I've just already said, to Ron Langley, and many more who probably turned up. Barbara Charles, yes, the lovely Julia. Who else have we got up here? He's just going in to have a look and see who else is there. Many, many people. Carl Osborne. Hello, Carl. Mr. Connell. Hello, how are you? To Andy Dalgleish, to Laura Riddle. 27th, LOL. Is that what it says? Is that what it is? I have no idea what it says, to be honest with you. Glastonbury Gabriel says, love the mug. Yes, love the mug. Got this. It is a wonderful mug. For those that can't quite read it, here is a close-up version. I don't think that bit there is actually supposed to be there. Let me get rid of that. That's a bit of slurpy tea. There we are. This is Floating Our Boat. I'm supporting them by purchasing a mug, because they're lovely people. And if you see them suddenly appear, let them know I've got one of their mugs. There we go. Put it on display, because if I put it on the actual desk, it'll disappear, you see. So it's strategically shoved up somewhere there anyway. Anyway, hello to Stephen Blakey, to Glastonbury Glabiel, to Steve G, to Richard Upton, to Bread Loud, to J.W. Harville, to Robert Baxter, to Laura Riddle, I may have said, to Dawn Coping, hello to you all, to the Veg Grower Podcast, and so on and so on and so forth. How marvellous. 65 people. Give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the show. I haven't really done anything, but, give us a thumbs up. Anyway, Ed Loud, hi, forgive me if you covered this, but the file date is it's yesterday's date. That's correct. Yes, this is yesterday's show, ladies and gentlemen. This is a look back to all those wonderful things that happened yesterday. Yeah, it's just a sort of nostalgia show. We were in lockdown. Do you remember the day when we were in lockdown and we couldn't go out anywhere and Boris came back? Yes, Boris came back from the dead. It was incredible. Like the Messiah. He got down from his cross and he said, I will let you go. Do you remember those days of lockdown, of which yesterday, when we look back on the Look Back in Anger day, who wrote Look Back in Anger? Was that was a famous, was it John Osborne? It was a famous play of the 60s, a kitchen sink drama, wasn't it? Why did they call it the kitchen sink? Did they have the kitchen sink? Was it set in a kitchen? And were they standing around the sink going, oh, you want to look down there, the U-bend's broken, isn't it? That's the trouble with that. You'll have to get a plumber in. Oh, you'll have to get a plumber in. Oh, we'll have to get a plumber in. You'll have to get a plumber in. There's something stuck down there. Oh, yes. What you need is a nice person with a bit of a wire. A coat hanger would do it. Yes, the old kitchen sinks. But don't look back angrily at me, love. Don't you start looking. I didn't block it. I didn't put a whole load of lard down there without putting hot water down first. Oh, no, not me. I don't know where that came from, but it came from somewhere. Anyway, it was all very nice. The Veg Grower Turbo Stream, Richard Glastonbury. Boris who? Boris Becker. I think it was Boris Becker who came back. Or was it Boris Karloff? One of the three. Boris Karloff. I always remember Boris Karloff with fond affection going, a great actor. No one can do it better. Nobody does it better. He does it better than the rest. Boris Karloff. Anyway, enough of this gay banter. On today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Essie on the webcam. For in the Essie, ladies and gentlemen, for in the Essie is nothing. Well, actually, I lie. There is a little trough of water. I've been making more bread, ladies and gentlemen. More bread. Yes, this time I have been using a little bit of the stone... what is it? Stone ginger? The stone ground. Oh, it's wholemeal stone ground ginger. Not ginger. There's no ginger in it. There's no carroty top children have been harmed in the making of this programme. Stone. I've got it now stuck in my head. There is a non-ginger flour, basically. A little bit of that, and I've been making some bread. I've been pummeling all afternoon. I have been out. I have made a video. Yeah, don't panic about that. It's not about bread making. But we are going to cook. This is what I've been eating. This is the ambitions of the Vobes show, ladies and gentlemen. The ambitions of the Vobes show is to cook bread live on the show. He says in staccato mononistic language. The thing is, I'm rather hoping that Billy and Sharifa, my lodgers, well, my son and his girlfriend, effectively lodgers, don't go and use the kitchen. Because in the kitchen, there is the Essie slowly burning away. Burn, burn, burn the girl, burny, burny way. Yeah, slowly burning away. The Essie star of the show, says Bread Loud. That's right, Mr. Hot Stuff. More bread. Am I needed? Yes, you are. Boris Johnson came back, says Mr. Connell. Yes, apparently, but we haven't seen him. He came out number 10, didn't he, on Monday, yesterday. This is the look back in yesterday's show. He came out. Now, I don't think we've seen him. He's not come to the briefings, has he? Fluorescent yellow, says Dean Cooper. What do you mean, fluorescent yellow? The Essie sign means happy motoring. Is that what it means? The Essie sign. Days of yore. What Essie sign? Happy motoring. Oh, okay. Happy burning in my case. Cooking is the new exploring. That's right. Thank you, Paul Smith. In these lockdown days, we've got to do something funny. So I've got to keep an eye on the time because the bread is rising in the pan. So let me just explain. We've got videos. We're going to be playing in videos, which is going to be superb. We've got Floating Your Boat's mug. We've got nice hot tea to go in it, which is lovely. Now, I've been doing my bread making again, and it's in the tin, and it's got its last rise. I'm waiting for it to do its last rise, and then as soon as it's done its last rise, it's going in the oven for 20 minutes. And when it's gone in the oven for 20 minutes, I'm going to open the door, turn it upside down, and then put it back in the oven so it burns the bum. And I shall leave the oven door a bit open for about 10-15 minutes, and then I will come out. So 20 minutes is 40 minutes. We want to have it done by the end of the show. So I've just got to get vague timing. So in about 10 minutes' time, we'll put it in. So now, if anybody wants to give me a call, you know the number, 0793 474 6790. If you've never called the show before, you're very, very welcome. Be lovely to hear from you. And we've got a number of videos to put in at the same time. So that's really good. Tim DeShazer, hello from Alvin, Texas. Hello, Tim DeShaver. I hope I've got your Shazer. I beg your pardon. Sometimes I can't read the text because I'm a nincompoop. So, sorry, Tim. Hello from Alvin in Texas. Where is Alvin in Texas anywhere near, where did I go? Is it near Dallas or is it near San Antonio, Texas? I would love to know. Just give us a vague idea. Or is it down near the Alamo? I've been to both of those. Audrey Forbes Hamilton says, Kim is brown bread. Who's Kim? Kim is brown bread. What do you mean? Have we lost somebody? The bread is rising. Rising what? Raising, rather. It's raising a fury in the kitchen at the moment. It's absolutely raising a fury. Yesterday's gone, says Ed Ovet. There was a song apparently called Yesterday's Gone. Yesterday, all my troubles were packed up in a bag and shoved on a bus. Yes. How can you lose a trunk? Hello. Dean's lost one of his trunks. Has he been down on the beach again? Typical of him to go down on the beach on a wet day like this. He should have gone yesterday when the sun was shining in his trunks. But never mind. Audrey, says Barry Stevens, maybe South Korea He's alive. I'm not quite sure. See, this is when it's difficult when you sort of plunge into the comments and you never quite know what they're talking about. Barry Hughes. Hi or hello, Barry. Lovely to see you. Thank you for coming in. We've got another Barry. We've got two Barrys. The Great Barrier Vobes Show. That's what this is. Good grief to the Great Barrier Show. Where are you from, Barry Hughes? Love to know where you are. That would be good. Don't forget you can call 0793 4746 790. This is the Vobes Show, broadcasting, well, sort of narrowcasting, I suppose, from Worthing in West Sussex at the edge of the South Downs and the foot of the... No, wait a minute. The foot of the South Downs and the edge of the English Channel. South of Houston. Oh, south of Houston, Texas. Oh, right. So that's Tim DeShazer, south of Houston. Texas, Houston, we have a problem. So have you, presumably, have you been there all your life? Did you watch, I have no idea how old you are or whatever, but do you watch the NASA takings off? Can you see that from your bedroom window? Imagine waking up in the morning and there's NASA with a big rocket on the launch pad going, stand by for takeoff. I bet you see all the, the bits that drop off, the rockets that are supposed to drop off when they get into the atmosphere, but sometimes they drop off a bit early. Oh, those bloody curtain rings are coming down again, boy. I don't know what accent that was. Please forgive me. Robert Baxter says, I like Goodbye Yesterday by Foreigner. Yes, I like a foreigner to say goodbye yesterday. I'd like him to have said it yesterday, to be honest with you. Andrew Murphy. Here we go. Moment of Murphy. We haven't had a moment of Murphy for a while. What's that with him? He says, I bought some bread flour from Sainsbury's today, but was not able to get any yeast. Oh, well, you can't do it without yeast. I've tried. I've tried it with dead yeast. I can tell you, it's not so good. Not so good. The Great Barrier Bed Show, says Barry Stevens. Absolutely. Barry Hughes is from Bognor Regis. So there we go. We've got Tim DeShazer in Houston, Texas, and we've got Barry Hughes in Bognor Regis. Both legitimately interesting places, though one far more nearer than the other to me. So that's good. Sack truck, says Audrey Forbes Hamilton. What do you mean sack truck? Has he got a sack truck stuck in his trunks? Not. We have a phone call, ladies and gentlemen. We have a phone call. Let's find out who it is calling the Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi on the show tonight. Hello, caller.
Hello, listener.
Hello, you. How are you, Ed?
Not bad, not bad. I've gone back to Deepole and changed my name to Ed again.
Oh, well done. I was going to say, do we call you Bread?
Sorry to call 2 days on the trot. I just wanted to say I'm finding yeast really, really hard to find at the moment myself.
It's very small, and it's kind of brown, and it can look like poppy seeds. Just as a clue there.
If anybody's got any unbleached flour, they can breed their own yeast. They could make a sourdough starter. So if you Google it, if you look it up online, you need two things, flour and water. Some people say put a bit of yogurt in it and things like that.
How do you know if it's unbleached?
It will have if it's white, it will have a sort of yellowy, slightly yellow colour. It will say on the packet 9 times out of 10. Also, if you've got wholemeal flour, obviously that'll usually be unbleached. If you got it from a health food
shop, hang on a minute.
If you paid a bit more money for it.
Just wait one second. I've got. Come here. I've got some of this old land windmill wholemeal stone ground flour. Ingredients: wheat.
Mm.
That's it. So you're saying that is unbleached?
What colour is it?
I haven't opened the packet. Well, actually, I have opened the packet because I've got another packet over here. It's got all the husks and everything in it.
Yeah, that'll be unbleached. I'd put money on that being unbleached.
So
if you've got any unbleached flour,
yeah. So
because, it will still have the natural yeasts on the surface of the flour.
Okay. So how do you make how do you do it?
Right. So if you've got some unbleached flour, it will have all the fungus and everything on the outside.
Yeah.
The bleach will normally kill a lot of that.
Yes.
That's why you want unbleached. And you put a couple of spoonfuls in a jar. Don't ever put the lid on the jar tightly, but put a couple of spoonfuls in a jar. Put some. Don't use tap water, in my opinion. Go and get some Evian or something like that.
Get some what? Evian?
Yeah, any kind of mineral water.
Do you mean Evian? Do you mean Evian?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
never heard
that'd
of.
be a
I've
lot.
never heard of Evian. Is that a new version? Is that the expensive? That's the posh version of Evian, is it? Evian.
Yeah, maybe. But just any kind of filtered water, anything without chlorine in it.
Right. Okay. What about
And,
boiled water? Can you boil water and let it cool?
Yeah, you could do that. It will still have a bit of chlorine in it, but nowhere near as much. It
Right.
will turn into a gas. And
Yeah.
I'm just trying to go with a really foolproof method here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Bottled water will be better.
Yeah.
And pour half a cupful in, and you'll have a sort of thick paste. Just leave it overnight. Feed it the next day. Put more flour in, a couple of spoonfuls at most. Maybe put a bit more water in. You've got to keep it as sort of like a thick paste consistency, like pancake batter.
Right.
And just keep doing that. It might take 5 days, might take 7 days.
Yeah.
But then you're going to have, if you smell it, it's going to have a slightly sweet yogurty smell.
Right.
It hasn't gone bad. Don't panic. It's all goodness in there. And just keep feeding it. And that will be your sourdough starter. So it's a very simple process.
Right. So you couldn't.
Making sourdough bread is a bit more involved than a normal loaf of bread.
Okay, let me just hang on. Hold on. You're on a roll here. I just got to ask you. So
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you're not. Oh yeah, I did it without noticing. So just let me get this straight. You don't give it sugar.
No,
you're not feeding it sugar or anything, but you're just adding flour a little bit every day for 5 odd days until you keep it at this paste consistency. Are you
5 to 7 days?
Yeah. Are you stirring it?
Yes, you're stirring it.
Stirring it up. Okay. Hang on. I'll ask the questions. Just give me the answers in one syllables, okay? Just because I just got to get my head around this. So. Is this purely for sourdough, this yeast that you're making?
Yes.
Or you can't use this yeast to make ordinary bread?
To be honest, you can use sourdough bread like normal bread. What is normal bread?
Well, the bread
sourdough is quite good bread. You pay
you don't conflate the thing. I'm not saying it's not good bread or anything. I'm just saying the type of bread that I have been making, which is like your loaf of bread that you get from Morrison's, that's not called sourdough or any other, soap bread or fish bread or whatever it is, the ordinary bread. All I want to know is, can you use this paste that you've made to then turn that yeast into the bread that you use to make ordinary bread? No, fine. Okay, that was fine. That was fine. Yeah. I didn't know because I was confused at the beginning of whether that's where we were going. So this is purely yeast for sourdough?
Yes, that starter is going to be your, basically, what you'll add half of that into your bread when you make bread.
Right.
Then you'll feed it and use it next time you make bread. So if anybody just Googles it, they'll get a much better explanation than I've given, and you'll find out recipes to use.
Right.
It's involved, but it is simple.
Okay.
You can't really go wrong.
No.
But it just takes patience.
Now, I think
in lockdown, I think we've all got time to give it a try, really.
Yes. Now, Kevin, I think, was starting to do some sourdough. Oh, hang on. Robin Marshall says NASA goes from Florida, not Texas. I thought Houston was the thing because they're always talking to Houston, aren't they?
Mission control is in Houston.
Oh, right.
But the rockets take off from Cape Canaveral.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Cape Canaveral. Yeah. Of course, that's a word. That's a place that I've often heard. Oh, right. So, obviously, Tim can't see it from his bedroom window.
No.
Do you ever feel that you're just a complete and utter idiot? I mean, I'm talking about myself here. Do you ever feel sometimes that I put my foot right in it there because I assume Cape Canaveral was just the other side of the car park at Houston. But
no, it's closer to Disneyland. I've been there actually. It's a very strange place. I walked into Cape Canaveral. Was just walking around like all the other tourists. Yeah, it felt really, really hot, as if a rocket had just taken off, which it hadn't. Literally, I walked through the gates, and it was one of the hottest places I've ever been. It must have just been the day I went on. But,
gosh, maybe the tarmac is still scorched from 1969 when they did the first Oh, I don't know when they did the first one, but I've just made that figure up. Anyway, Ed, I need to go and look at my. I need to go and have a look at my bread, and I need to get a video going. But thank you for the
please,
idea.
anyone who can't find yeast, please look up sourdough bread because it'll be the best bread you've ever had.
Brilliant.
And you won't regret it.
I won't.
So have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Ed. Bye-bye. There we go. Ed Loud giving us some advice. I was just confused, as you heard. I was confused there about which type of yeast he was trying to get to, because I thought, you can't get yeast for love nor money. There's none of it around. You could make this yeast. It takes 5 days to do it, and I figured probably in 5 days' time the shops would be full of it. But if this is the best way to do it for soda bread, is it soda bread? Sourdough bread. I get confused. Right. I need to go and have a quick look at my bread, which is on there. Let's get rid of that. In the kitchen. So warming up. I need to have a quick look at that so I get my timings right. Meanwhile, lots of people. Houston, we have a problem, says Richard Upton. Absolutely. Sorry about making a complete nutter. Can't beat an apple crumble, says Barry Hughes. Well, you could beat it. You could beat it. But it would be smashing. Right, we're going to play a video in. So I've got a moth in the studio. Oi! Start charging him rent. Wendy Lowry's been out and about on a beautiful little walk on a pathway near where she's been before, but don't let that distract you. It's very nice. Let's go and have a bit of calm with the lovely Wendy. Wendy, take it away.
Hello Richard, hello everyone. Out on my daily stroll, and I just thought I'd bring you up this little pathway. It's actually up the side of the field with all the lovely trees that I was in on my last video. Just a lovely little stroll. We've got all the different trees. It's a sycamore. What the others are, I don't know, but I expect somebody will. Over here, lots of stinging nettles. So it's a lovely little path to walk up on a lovely day like this. There's a pigeon and some other birds in the background. Here's some beautiful bluebells. And here's some forget-me-nots, which grow very prolifically. I had a lot in my previous garden, and from one packet they filled a whole large garden. Came up like weeds, but they are so beautiful. It's lovely walking through here with the trees either side giving some dappled shade. Lots and lots of bluebells. Different shades. So I think I'll end this now, just in case somebody comes the other way and we have to get out of each other's way. It can be a bit awkward when you're on a narrow pathway, this social distancing. So I'll end it now, and thank you for watching everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, Wendy. Thanks for taking the time to not only go out on a walk and enjoy the wonderful countryside, but actually to go and do a bit of videoing and sending it into the old Vobes show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And do you know, since I made that video the other day when I was looking at those blue flowers and I was thinking, what are those blue flowers? I now cannot forget what a forget-me-not looks like. And so as soon as it came up in your video, when I was pre-watching it before the show, I realised, I know what they are. They're lovely forget-me-nots. So, and it's lovely to see them. And I must get a packet, like you said, because I'd love to have those, a sudden burst for however long they last, a couple of weeks or whatever it is, during the spring in my front garden, a whole load, a festoon of forget-me-nots. As long as they don't act like weeds for the rest of the year round. Anyway, well done. Now, I've gone and got my loaf of bread. Here it is. This is now, as you can see, it's a little bit flecked on there because it's got a little bit of the stone, ground stone ginger, whatever it is. Now, I'm going to put it in the oven, but before I do that, I shall just make a little score down the top of this, which I need to concentrate a little bit because I don't want to mess it up. So now the idea of this is that it helps the loaf expand a bit without cracking too much. So that is it there, look. Hopefully it's about an inch, a centimetre rather, is what they say. So now I'm going to go and shove it in the oven. So let me just turn up the microphone in the oven room. Let's come back out of this, switch the camera onto the Essie, and I shall go there now and stick it in. Hang on, I'm getting in there. Just coming into the kitchen. Hello, my dears. We don't need that. I have got in there a bowl which is to create a bit of a steamy atmosphere. And in it goes. Now, according to my watch, it's about I'm not wearing a watch. It's about 8:30 here. And we are sort of on, the temperature gauge on that is just on to very hot, which is about right. I'm just going to open this, chuck in an extra log, and there we go. And come back into the studio. Now we're going to give that 15 minutes. Can somebody remind me? 8:27 it is, so 15, it's 1:45. So just don't want to burn my my loaf. Hope that looked all right. I'm just looking at the feedback. Oh yeah, in goes the wood. It's all very good. You're getting very professional with this bread making, says Ron. Thank you very much. That must be loaf 8. I haven't made one since the one I gave to lovely Julia, and lovely Julia can tell us how it tasted. So I want to hear from Kevin if he's managed to start his sourdough bread, because he was starting to do that. I don't know if he's still managing to do that. Let me turn that microphone off. We don't need that one on for the moment. Let's just catch up very quickly. Come walk with me. Forget what now? Yeah, forget the flour name, whatever it is. Love soda bread, says Rammy Boo. So you've been loafing about. I've always been loafing about me. What do? I never do any work. Robert Baxter says, when you get more used to it, you could make several loaves at the same time. I need to get some tins. I need to get more tins. And what I did think is one could have 2 tins and make a bit of a rota system, because you could make several loaves and get them in and put. I could probably get 2 loaves in the oven at the same time, but obviously I don't need to do many. But I know that lovely Julia liked it, so I could make her a few loaves. And any local people who want them. We don't go to the park. Sorry, we can't go to the park near the river of our house, so all the walks would be walking on the road in the neighbourhood, which upsets people right now, says J.W. Harville. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And the risen loaf looks great, says Andy Dalgleish. Yes, I'm slowly getting the knack of it. Your 7th loaf was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. We devoured it, says lovely Julia, rapidly. Left nothing left this afternoon. Yes. So I have 2 more loaf tins that I can loan you, she says. Well, if you loan me a tin, I'll make you another loaf. How about that? We will have to get together. Kevin Dramble says, Richard, it was a total disaster and I won't be bothering again. Oh dear. Kevin had a go at the sourdough. It didn't work out. What you need, mate, is an Essie. We'll take another call in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, but first we will nip in and have a look. Talking of Kevin, Kevin's been out rambling around. Let's see where he's been today.
Morning, Richard. Kevin here. I'm out on a little walk around the town. But I wanted to just quickly just show you what's down in front of me. A couple of Egyptian geese. When you're at different places, you take notice more of the trees that are in front of you. I'm actually on St Anne's Hill again, and I did a video from here last week, week before, and I was thinking that most of the trees up here were mainly mainly oak, but in fact they're not. The tree in front of me here is definitely an oak tree, but I'm not exactly sure which oak it is, and that's coming from this tree here. But the rest of these trees, as I thought, these are, I'm pretty sure these are old chestnut trees, sweet chestnut trees, absolutely huge ones. I wouldn't hazard a guess of their age. 150 years old, perhaps 200 years old, thereabouts. But just over this way we've got hazel tree here, and it's already forming the nuts on the tree. Just unless they're old ones from last year, I'm not sure, but I would have thought by the looks of some of these up there, that's new nuts or kernels, are they called, that are forming already. But just round here, look at these old tree stumps, absolutely fascinating. There's one there, look. And look at this one. That was a huge tree at one time, and that's a silver birch growing up there, but I can't imagine that the stump there is silver birch. We've got bluebells still fully out in flower here. Absolutely lovely.
There we go. Kevin Hall, out and about, up there at St Anne's Hill. Those trees, absolutely remarkable trees. When I went and did my original film, whenever it was in up there, it was in the autumn, and the ground was just full of sweet chestnuts, loads and loads and loads of them. So yeah, I knew that they must have been chestnuts up there because there was just stacks of them. They were lovely. And the squirrels were having a field day, quite literally a field day, bouncing about. Well done, Kevin. Thank you very much for that. Now, I will take a phone call if somebody wishes to give us a call on 07934746790, but I will have to keep an eye on the time because I'm baking bread at the same time. Should have put my pinny on, shouldn't I? Should have put my lovely pinny on. Connor's Dark Corner says, you asked me where I'm from yesterday. I'm from Bognor Regis and was at Bursted Brooks, just a minute walk from me. How lovely. I must come over to there when the lockdown is over. When? I mean, we just keep saying the same old nonsense, don't we? When the lockdown is over. When the lockdown is over. When will it ever be over? Lots of lovely old trees and the bluebells look gorgeous, says Wendy Lowry. Don't they? Doesn't it? It was very nice up there. It's a lovely place. Kevin's very lucky up there. And I did hear that people are now, because they can't hug people, they are now turning to trees to hug, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Now, Julia has been doing tree hugging for donkey's years. She's one of the originator of the tree hugging movement. In fact, she is part of the team that look after ancient sacred trees of Great Britain. And there's a lot of tree hugging going on in there. So although we've got to keep our physical distance from people and we can no longer embrace our friends at the moment, we can embrace trees. And how lovely would that be to have a nice tree to hug? Well, I know that the lovely Julia and I are trying to grow some trees. We planted them last year and they are, I think it was last year we planted them, or is it the year before? It might be the year before, and they're growing slowly. We need to transplant them into some pots. But of course, you know, I can't get round there in the same way that we used to be able to do it. It's one of those things. But the aim is to, we had some oaks and we've got some chestnuts, horse chestnuts, and the aim is to get them to a certain height and then nip out into the countryside, into a spot that we know about, that others aren't likely to develop or do anything with, and grow these trees in particular places that we can come back 5 years hence, 10 years hence, and see if they're still there growing up, knowing that they are our trees, which would be a lovely project to do. So there we are, a bit of, what do they call it, guerrilla tree planting. Ed Loud is talking to Mark, and Linda Kane says, a Mott and Bailey castle, just in case Kevin doesn't see your question. Oh, right, okay. I started shaking branches just because no human would shake my hand, says J.W. Harville. Yeah, what is that like, touching another human? Does anyone remember what touching another human... I mean, obviously, if you're in a family unit, you know, if you've got kids like Julia has, then, of course, you're touching other humans probably more frequently than anybody else. But I wonder how husbands and wives who are stuck together, are they... now that they are stuck together permanently and they can't hug or whatever, are they getting on better than they ever were? Is there more intimate contact, or is there less? Is there less? I'd be interested to know. It must be a very strange place for potential lovers at the moment. You know, you go out, you see someone, you might, you know, give them a bit of a chin chat. Chin chat? Yeah, it's the chin wobbling, you know. Give them a bit of a chat and a bit of, what is it when what is the term? My brain. What is the term when you are being cheeky with a member of the opposite sex, but it's not being cheeky, you're flirtatious. Thank you. You're being flirtatious. Yeah. But you can't go any further than that. You can't touch them, you can't embrace them, you can't make a pass at them, you can't do anything. You go, oh, yeah, it's been really interesting talking to you. I'd love to take you out for a cup of coffee, but hey, do you fancy watching me on the screen tonight? Doesn't quite have the same ring on it, does it? Shall we have a Zoom date? I guess that's what people must be doing, having a Zoom date. Sounds absolutely bizarre. Let's go and have another video. And in the video box tonight, ladies and gentlemen, what else have we got over here? Now, young Gabriel has been out and about in Glastonbury, and he's got us a lovely 2-part information special on Glastonbury. It's a fantastic and interesting town. Julia and I went there in 2017 when it was off season. About this time, it was just after or just before, I can't remember now, Easter. Perhaps I think it was just before. And there were a few tourists, but not very many. But it wasn't as quiet as when Gabriel went out earlier today.
Glastonbury, Gabriel here. You find me in Glastonbury town itself this morning. It's very early, it's about 7:30. I thought I'd come in and have a little look round town while there's nobody around. So here we are in Benedict Street, normally a bustling little shopping area. Very, very quiet today, very, very quiet. Even by now, normally there's a load of traffic up and down this road, but not now. The crown has been an inn since 1535, badly damaged by a fire 100 years ago. Only the bay-windowed frontage remains. After a prolonged closure, it is hoped to reopen later this year. This building here used to be a bank. Back in 2016, when I was still a town councillor, we had 3 banks. One had already left. We used to have 4. One had already left. We had 3, and this was one of them. And in 2016, all 3 banks notified the town they would be closing and leaving them no banking facilities at all within a couple of months. We set up a campaign, and we knew we wouldn't stop the closure, but we needed to find something to replace because obviously a town the size of Glastonbury can't live without a bank. And the result was the opening of a nationwide. This isn't an advert for any particular bank, but when everybody else deserted town, Nationwide came to the rescue, and we now have some sort of banking in town. Glastonbury is known for its many cafes and coffee shops. One of the longest in town now is probably the Blue Note Cafe. It's been here for years. It's popular with tourists and locals alike, and does a very good coffee. Glastonbury High Street is a very interesting mix of shops. You can buy everything here, from a Tibetan singing bowl through to joss sticks, through everything you need in your alternative lifestyle. However, locals who've lived here all their lives and who can no longer come into town and buy normal things aren't so keen. It's how you look at it, I guess. No tourists today though. No tourists at all. Many pretty colours in the shop windows though. One of our more normal shops, and quite well known as well, is Burns the Bread. Bit of an unfortunate name, but they seem to manage to not burn it that badly. You can't help but wonder how some of these shops are going to survive. I mean, Art of Africa looks very closed over there. There's another shop down the bottom, another one over there. Some of these shops are, they are small individual businesses and they won't sustain this very much. And over there you can see another one of our illustrious closed banks. Is now a shop selling all sorts of things. Just approaching John the Baptist here. I'm going to walk down the side. This is our local church. This has been undergoing some major restoration recently and has only just reopened, but unfortunately, after being closed for quite a few months, it reopened during the lockdown. I've not been able to look inside. As soon as I can get inside, we'll go and have a look around.
There we go. How about that? There is a second part to come. How brilliant. Can't wait. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Lots of interesting things in there. Firstly, as people have mentioned, weird seeing no cars, weird seeing no people whatsoever. Must be very strange. And you're quite right, those shops, how will they recover? Because they rely on tourists. And if tourists aren't allowed to go there, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for them. Bread shop, fantastic. You had to get that in. That was superb. Loved that very much. Lots of interesting things there. And the Nationwide Building Society, who was that? Somebody said, what's the difference between that and a bank, and is there a difference? And the answer to that, as far as I know, is that some years ago, the Building Society rules were relaxed so that they can operate as banks, even though they're still called building societies. I may be wrong, but that's how I understand it. And I apologise if the audio was a little bit loud at the beginning. I had to leap out because Billy and Sharifa are now in the kitchen. So that's a bit of a worry, because it must be nearly time now to have a look. And I'm just gonna have a quick sneak in the kitchen and see if they're in front of the camera. Oh, hang on. Why are we doing that? Hang on. Oh, look. There's somebody there. That I can see a hand. It's great, this. Now, if I go on this one, I can see their bedroom. No, stop that. So I think, is it 5 minutes? Nearly 5 minutes up. It's nearly 5 minutes, so I'm going to have to go and check it out. There is a part 2 to the lovely Gabriel's video, which we will play in tomorrow's show. Looking forward to that. Julia says, oh yes, bread time. Dun 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 dun. So let's I just give them a bit of a warning thing. I'm just going to go into the kitchen now and have a look to see how the bread's doing. So we'll switch to the bread camera and microphone, so there's no swearing, and see what the situation is. That's funny. I thought I heard voices in here, but maybe there's nobody here. Let's see how the bread is doing. Ooh. Well, I'm going to take it out and have a look, because I think it could do with a bit longer. Perhaps it's not as hot as before. Ow. That might be hot. Yeah, it is hot. I think that needs a bit longer. what I'm going to do is I'm going to zap up the heat a bit. That's on. Oh, I know why. That one. There we go. That'll get it. Lost the thing. We can watch the flames for a bit. There we go. I'm back now. There we are. Look at that. Marvellous. Well, let's shut that door. It's not quite ready. I'm going to give it a bit longer. Now, Chris, my experience of making bread, of course, I appreciate completely vast, and I have a huge knowledge to fall back on. This is loaf 8, after all. But in my experience, it needs a little bit longer because I'm using a slightly different flour in there. So that's that. Let's see what people are saying. Mark Donovan McLeod, your kids are better behaved than mine. They'd swear on purpose to take the mick. Yes, I'm sure they would. I have faded the microphone down, so that's all right. I have faded the microphone down. So, and I wouldn't dream of just, spying on them. Morton says, Barry, what did you make of it? What did he make of it? Cracking vid. I met my first wife in Glastonbury in 1984. Blimey. Where did you meet your second wife then? And how many wives have you had? Bread looks good, says Judith. It just needs browning off a bit more. I always thought your studio was upstairs, says Robert Baxter. No, this is the back room downstairs. It's the old dining room. If you're a thief and trying to break in, probably the best thing is to get over the fence and then smash your way through. There are quite a few trip hazards here, though. There's light stands and there's a television, and there's nothing really worth nicking if you're a burglar. It's only worth nicking if you want to set up your own little impoverished internet studio. That's about all it's worth. Robert Baxter, said that. Ramibu says definitely needs longer. It's too white, and it will come over more white on the camera, I dare say, than that. Ranjit Patel. Hello, Ranjit Patel. Nice to see you. My family will visit Worthing. Your area is lovely. I will visit the beach and my family for sandwiches. Well, it's lovely to sit on the beach eating your sandwiches as soon as lockdown is over. Because otherwise we get the police coming in saying, "This is lockdown, you're not allowed on the beach eating sandwiches. Please, can you move along?" But it is a lovely place, apart from some of the architecture now where they seem to be building incredibly high-rise buildings, which we don't like here very much, although the council love it. I guess because they can get so much council tax out of one property, which is a bugger. Do you know, I've been in touch with the council tax. My dad's place has been empty for 18 months, and it's been on the sales for 6 months now, trying to sell the bloody place. Now we've gone into the COVID lockdown, and we can't actually exchange contracts. So I've spoken to the council about the council tax and said, could we just have an exemption? And do you know what they said? They said no. I said, but we don't use any of the services. And they said, but you use police and fire brigade, because if somebody broke in, you'd need to use it. And if it burnt down, you'd want the fire brigade. I thought, cheeky buggers. Hello to the caller on the show.
Oh, hello, Richard. It's Mike Dixon.
Hello, Mike Dixon. Hi. How are you?
Yeah, still alive and kicking, thank God, and sane.
And
just
sane.
About.
We have a marvellous video of you attending a certain service. I'm not going to quite say what it is yet.
Right.
To play in the show.
Oh, good. Just a quick one. You were talking about trees and lovely Julia loving trees. I thought it reminded me when we were in Devon last year. We were at a garden show at Powderham Castle.
Which castle?
Powderham, which is near kind of going towards Dawlish.
Right, what a lovely name.
Cross.
What a Powderham Castle.
Yeah, it's a lovely place. We just saw it advertised. Because I lived in Devon many years ago when I was doing some of my psychiatric training.
Oh, right.
And yeah, so I started off down there, and I did some sports, at Powderham Castle. So it was a lovely setting, Anyway, while we were there was a guy called, at this garden show, there was a guy called Alex Metcalf, and he did a programme with Judi Dench on the BBC. He's called The Tree Listener.
Oh, yes. I think I've seen the documentary. Is that they did a documentary about the life of trees or something?
Yeah, they went to, I believe it was also in the
They went
gardens of Buckingham Palace, you know?
Right. I think they went to Crowborough, didn't they? And he presented the cannonball that was in the tree or something.
Did he? Did he, yeah.
I can't remember exactly,
Yeah,
but
no.
something like that.
But anyway, I thought I've got it on my computer. I just found there's it's on YouTube. I don't know if I thought for Vobesters might want to hear. This is a copper beech tree, and it's one of his recordings that he was demonstrating.
Oh right, yeah, do.
Shall I try and play it down the phone?
Play it down the phone. This must be a first.
Crikey, this is going to be exciting. This is far more exciting than BBC or on our TV system at home. We got Sky TV.
Yes.
We got, I believe, it's 1,038 TV channels.
What, on Sky?
Yeah, and 24-hour filming and YouTube. Anyway, this is far more exciting, I reckon. Anyway.
Yes. Let's hear the what tree did you say? It was a copper beech.
It's a copper beech tree.
Marvellous.
And his name is Alex Metcalf. You can find him online, and his name he goes under the name of the Tree Listener.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll try. I'll see if you can. I'll play it and see if you can hear it. It's on a computer.
Okay.
Can you hear that?
I did. It sounded like you were on a wooden tray going down a mountainside.
Well, he calls it a deep rumbling and the clicks, and he calls it popping. And what it is the water going up the tree, sucking the tree, sucking up the water.
So what's he done? Is he stuck a microphone into the tree so that he can get their sounds really close up? Wow.
And then it goes through a computer system, and then makes it audible.
Yes.
And basically, he's saying that an average oak tree sucks up around about 300 gallons of water a day.
Blimey, 300 gallons.
Yeah, and
Can't have been doing much.
Would know. They then communicate with neighbouring trees, and they can share nutrients and water supplies, and they talk to each other about what if there's any kind of infestation or diseases or climatic changes, things going on. They kind of communicate through each other through a very complex kind of network of fungi.
Yes, there's a great book called The Secret Life of Trees or something, and the guy there, who's a Scandinavian chap, I think, he explains all of that in great detail. I've read that. It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? When we think they're just independent, growing, trees on their own, but they're actually communicating with each other, and they can share nutrients and and water and everything else. Pretty amazing stuff, isn't it?
It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely.
Not everybody's cup of tea, but I thought I just heard you talking about trees earlier, so I thought it just reminded me of this Alex Metcalf, so I thought I'd ring in and share it with you.
And we loved it very much, and thank you for playing in a copper beech there with the 300 gallons of water shooting up the inside. That is amazing. We're going to see you a little bit later on in the show in a very interesting situation of which Bella
say no more.
Say no
Frankie,
more.
This
Bella
has
has
more
already
exciting than the BBC.
Oh
it?
Yes, absolutely. Bella has already gone through this ordeal, and now you go next. It's amazing. But we will watch that later. I need to go back and check my better go check my bread.
Yeah, no, it looks lovely. All right. Take care.
Take care. Thanks,
Take care.
Mike.
Bye.
Bye. There we go. Mike Dixon there, checking in with his Copper Beech sound effects. Marvellous. Lots of people there. Copper beech, not beach, says Judith. The tree community is vast and more complex than most people realise. I heard that too, Mike. How trees communicate, absolutely. Mitochondrial or something is a word that's associated with it, but that's probably not how it's pronounced. Let's go into the Essie world. I want to just check that my bread is looking okay. So, running back into there, it helps if I take my cloth. Can I smell burning? I'm not sure if I can. Opening up. Now this is interesting because the strong flour on its own does go brown. It is browning, but it still needs a bit longer. I'm going to give that a bit longer, but and then I'm going to turn it upside down. But I'll just give it a bit longer. It's actually not as hot as I've had it before, so this is probably more gentle cooking than before. But it will rise up, have no fear, because I can see the heat is being generated in there quite swiftly. Right, back in a mo. There we go. Yes, there we go. Mike, I can't even pronounce that. Microchondrial fungi is exactly how it communicates. I do remember, I did read it, and I have got up here, oh, yeah, it's on one of my shelves, Secret Life of Trees. Here's a fantastic book, actually, talking of trees, which I think I have shown before. This one is an amazing but very expensive, I have to say, and I did buy this new, The New Silver, and this is based on the original book that was written by John Evelyn, who wrote The Silver. But this, I haven't got my, this is so beautifully illustrated and tells you about the different trees. Look at this. And it was two people, one a professor of trees and an artist who'd been drawing trees for some considerable time. Beautiful, just absolutely beautiful illustrations. I'll just show you some of those. And it's, a real coffee table book that... and what it does is it tells you a little bit about what John Evelyn wrote in the 1600s, around 1650, somewhere around there. I can't remember exactly when he published his. Around 1650, something like that. And then it tells you what it is now, that what he thought the trees were, and his interpretation of the trees, and then it tells you the actual facts that we know of them today, and it's really interesting. A lovely book, just happened to have there. So that's good. The water is in the dish, says Julia. Don't let it dry out. Oh, it suddenly disappeared. That's a shame. What's in the white dish? Oh, yes, just water. Getting lots of... Don't let it dry out. Oh, yeah, I better go and check that as well, because that's supposed to just, give a steamy atmosphere there. I think we've probably got time. We've probably got time now just to do one quick video before I take the loaf out and turn it upside down. So... I think what we will do is, I'm just looking at this, we've got this, that and the other. Let's go to Mike Dixon. We just heard him there. Bella went through this ordeal, and now Mike is going through the ordeal.
Hello. It's lockdown hairdressing. It's the Dixon barbershop. There's one customer and one hairdresser.
Last week I was a dog groomer, this week I'm a hairdresser.
And my daughter, Natasha, is the camera lady. Yeah, last week Helen sheared our dog Bella. So today she said it was my turn.
But next week it won't be Mike shearing my hair, that is definite certainty.
Anyway, I thought I'd share it with Richard and the Vobesters. Need a little bit of silliness in the middle of this lockdown. There we go. I'll pass you back to Richard in the studio.
There you go. Absolutely amazing. I know that ordeal. I used to have those clippers myself when I grew a little bit of hair, but when I went to, in 1993, I think it was, when we made Snug and Cozy, and that's when I shaved my hair off and went completely bald. In fact, 93 was probably the last time I did any extra work. Yeah, so well done, Mike. Well done, Mike. And he wasn't even trying to raise any money, which is a bit of a shame. We could have given him a £5 or something, which would have been lovely. I've just gone in and quickly checked the water situation. There's plenty of water in there. I will go and take the loaf out and turn it upside down in a moment. How are we doing on the time? It's 9 o'clock. It went in at... what time did it go in? At past, didn't it? So it's been in there half an hour. So it's difficult to know. Usually the oven is just that little bit hotter, but that's okay. Using different flour, it's all very experimental. Now, what's his name? Mark Selwood said, how many trees went into making the book, the paper to make the book? And that's a good question. But from what I understand, a lot of paper these days is made up from rags. The fibres from rags and not actually so much from wood. So I don't know how true that is, but that's something I did read, that a lot of the, that you get these bags and they come knocking on your door and it's so-called for a charity and you put your old stuff in it. Well, actually, some of these places, they don't bother with the charity. They might take 1 or 2 garments out that they can sell, but the rest of the stuff is sold on to the paper industry. And I believe it's actually turned into paper. So that's good. Andrew Norris says, can I borrow your wife, Mike? Andrew Norris, have you got slightly long, straggly hair that you need the hairdresser's services of Mrs. Dixon? That would be good. Other people in dire need of a haircut, says Mark Selwood. Reminds me, says Judith, when I cut my son's hair with a cape around to catch the hair. That upturned sort of umbrella thing was marvellous, wasn't it? There we go. Ron Langley, another bald explorer. Absolutely. Ed Loud says, the whole book experience, Kindles are great for travel, but I wouldn't be without the smell of a book now and then. I have got a Kindle, but I rarely open it. To me, a book is a book, and it has to be a printed thing. It really does. Keep those shears away from me, says Kevin. Have you had a haircut recently, Kevin? Linda says that I love the smell of dyeing paper in old books. Absolutely. Andrew Morris says, I sure have. I'm getting desperate. Yes. We will see Andrew Norris in today's show. He sent me a video. I thought we'd played this one, Andrew, but maybe we haven't. But we will. I turned the camera off. We will go and play it. Let's have a think. How are we doing on the time? I might go in now and turn the loaf over anyway and do the bottom and just see what I think about the top. I think that's what I'll do. So we will go back into the kitchen. There's the Essie. And we'll take that off. And here I am back again. Temperature hasn't really moved. It stayed fairly steady. Oh, that's looking much better now. Oh, yes. It's nicely, lightly browned off. Now, I don't normally do this bit on the floor, but what I'm going to do is get the tin here, like this, cover this. This is the technique that I've learnt for many years, is to then take the tin off like that without dropping the loaf. Drop the tin on the floor. I've got the baking paper, which is on there. That can come off, and actually that goes back in the tin, and that's the bottom of the loaf. Now I don't think that's properly done, so what I tend to do is What I tend to do is, that's warm, put the loaf upside down on the tin, which you can't quite see, I appreciate that. Like this. Oh, I've made a horrible dent on it. Bit like that. Hang on. It's because I'm rushing. I don't want to rush, but I don't want it to get cold either. Very carefully, because I don't want it to have a soggy bottom. So we'll leave it in there for a few minutes. It's interesting because that is certainly A very different loaf. And it's only a fifth of the stone ground whole wheat flour. I wish they didn't have such a long, complicated name. The stone ground whole wheat flour. There's only a fifth of that, so it's 500 grams in total of flour, and 100 grams was the stone whole ground wheat, whatever the thing is, and the rest was just ordinary strong flour. So, yeah. Let's catch up with what we've got over there. No, I haven't had a haircut, says Kevin. Biggles flies undone. What are you saying? Am I saying I'm undone? I'm not undone. An old 78 record, says Ron Langley. I noticed the curl. Anyway, so we'll go into the videos. And we've got, what have we got? We've got two to go. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. This one should be about the right sort of time. Mr. Suggett has borrowed his brother's gimbal. This is no ordinary gimbal. It's not a gimbal for a phone. It's not a gimbal for an action camera, but it's a gimbal for a DSLR. Quite a big thing. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see a picture of the gimbal, which would have been nice, but he's been out having a play. Let's have a look at some of the footage that dear old Richard has been filming with his brother's gimbal, because his brother, Max, lovely bloke, didn't know how to operate it.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Richard Suggett here from the Veg Grower Podcast. This is not a gardening video though, it is a test video. I've been loaned the use of a DSLR gimbal, and this is the first time I've taken it out to see how it works. Now at this point in walking through Littlehampton Town Centre, and it's quite early on in my walk, there's a slight bit of bobbing, but with good technique we can use it out. One of the things this gimbal has is joystick control for pan motors, and here you can see me actually tilting. It's nice and smooth and pretty usable. Now this is a bit further on as I start to walk down the River Arun, and as you can see I'm starting to get a bit tired now, and that's leading to more and more of this bobbing, which it's still not unusable, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm actually walking when I'm watching this video back, but it's not perfect. Now here I'm using the pan motors. Now you will notice that the pan is actually, although a bit too fast, but it's nice, smooth and level, which is a great advantage of the gimbals because it does that feature for you. It is possible to slow down the gimbal motors to make that pan a bit slower should I wanted. I can't get the app to work at the moment, but when I get the app working it's also possible to set that up automatically and have a bit better control over certain features. Now as you can see, right down the far end is the mouth of the River Arun, which is where we want to get to at the end of this walk. But continuing on with this walk, we are noticing there's a bit more of a shake while using this gimbal as it's getting heavier and heavier through longer term use. I'm using a Sony A7 camera with a 50mm fixed lens, which is not ideal, but it gives you an idea of what's going on. At this point it's also getting a bit busier to socially distance from various passers-by, but we do our best with what we have available. Also down the left hand side is a row of restaurants, many of which are closed, but some have opened for takeaways, and being a local company I want to support them as much as possible. Now I've gone up here by accident, but I'm testing out the joystick control again to try and see this seagull that's on top of this mooring post. Now again, the gimbal has an ability to attach to certain cameras to enable to zoom from the gimbal control, which I think is pretty useful. Now at this point we're coming down to the pier at the mouth of a river, and we'll walk right down to the end of the pier. But if you keep your eye on this couple on the right hand side, you will see that using a gimbal and camera draws attention to you, and these two blatantly noticed it. It's not as discreet as using a GoPro like Richard currently uses, but I'm sure with practice and patience we can get some really good footage out of using DSLR gimbals, and it's something that I may look at in the future myself. because of certain features that would be useful when I'm filming myself on my allotment or garden. Now, English Channel is right ahead of us, and I'm sure anybody who is not near a sea wants to have a good look at the sea. So just for you guys out there who may be missing it, here is the view coming up. Please enjoy. There is one other feature that a gimbal quite often has, and that is called the Inception mode. Now this Inception mode can get a bit dizzy, but I like it because I think it's a lot of fun, and that is what's coming up right now. Twist around, and I can see this being a great effect if we're in a woods or something like that, just to add a bit more fun and some interesting videos. Well, that's it for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think.
Well, there you go. How about that? The new gadget on the block being utilised. Not sure about the rolling thing at the back. That would certainly make me feel a bit queasy with the world going round and round. But I dare say it has its uses. But yeah, very well. Very interested to see how you get on with it. And then, of course, you'll have to give it back to Max, which will be a bit of a shame. But nice stuff. Certainly something to consider. What else have we got there? I saw a couple of interesting comments there. Don't like ponytails on older men, says Linda Kane. Fortunately, I'm not old and I've got a ponytail. So that would be good. Very nice, isn't it, Richard? Has such a smoothing voice. Yes, good old Sugget there with the old voiceover voice. Such a smoothing voice. Marvellous. Oh, and Andrew Norris says that back in March, he sent me the video, and I must have watched it, but I didn't actually put it out. So, yeah, no, it's probably why I thought I'd put it out, but obviously I didn't put it out. But we will be putting it out very shortly. I'm just keeping an eye on the time. Just one quick call time for one quick call, should somebody want to call in one quickly time, if you know what I mean. Although, of course, if you call in, I may have to dash out to have a look over at the SE, which is still doing well. Just looking at the temperature gauge there, it hasn't really gone up very much. Gone up a tad, so that's all right. I sort of vaguely know how to cook things in the SE. It's just that it doesn't have the degrees on it, so a lot of it is guesswork. And I was opening the door to cool it down a bit. But I think the whole grain, stone ground, whatever you call it, flour, just takes that little bit longer to brown off. But I think it'll be absolutely fine. So that's all right. Let's get down to the end comments. Now, what I won't be doing is when it's done, I'm afraid to say I'm not actually going to open it up, chop it open. I'm going to let it cool down and probably have a piece tomorrow, because I've still got some left for my other loaf, but my other loaf is nearly over. So I just wanted to make one while we do it on the show, but I'm afraid I'm not gonna cut it open, as it were. We don't want to see it bleed. Hello to the caller on the show.
Good evening. Are you well?
Yes, I am. Who's that?
Who indeed? Who could it be?
Who could it be, Mr. Croser?
Hello, Richard. How are you? Long time no see.
Long time no talk. I've seen you on the video, and you've seen me, but yes, we've not spoken as such for such a time.
No, I've been busy with work, and I had a bit of a virus, don't you know?
Oh, what? Not the virus?
Oh God, I don't know, but I felt like shit. Oh, sorry.
Hang on. I'll just turn the bleep machine on. Just a minute. Beep. There we go. It's all right. No one. Yeah, nobody heard it.
Oh, that's a pity. Good evening, everyone. How are you? Are you all well?
We are. How is it up north?
A bit overcast today, but it's been glorious the last 10 days or so. Absolutely glorious, as you've probably seen by the videos.
Yes, and
when I've had time to do them.
We've enjoyed them down there by the river.
Oh, yes, I'll be going back shortly. See, it's only just at the bottom of the garden, literally.
Oh, lovely.
Down the little path, and there it is. It's wonderful.
You need to get your own little coracle or a little rowing boat, and then you could row out onto because it's lovely.
Yeah, I've got a dinghy, but I haven't. I'm not allowed to go on it.
Are you not? Why is that?
No,
Is it the kids?
Yeah, Maris won't let me on it.
Oh, what a shame.
Hello, Andrew Norris. Hello, man. Donny McLeod. Grand. No, I think it's got a puncture, to be honest with you, and I can't be bothered finding the...
puncture
where
repair
where
kit.
it caught. Yeah, it's a bit of a ball ache, Richard. The bread looks very nice, I'm sure.
Yes, it does taste very nice. Have you ever tried making bread?
At school.
At school?
Yeah, and we used them for the rockery in my mum's back garden.
Well, you could have made... You'll be good at rock cakes then, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, I do. I mean, rock cake. I've lost a couple of teeth trying to eat it, but, it's very good. See, you use granite, it's no good. You need to use something soft like chalk.
Aye.
Like where you are.
Yes, of course. It's in the water, That's why our water is soft, and no doubt you've got hard water with the granite.
Yeah, quite so.
Or some theory like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of nuclear power stations up here, so that might have a lot to do with it.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice bit of nuking of the cakes.
Oh God, yes.
Nuke cakes. They're quite fun.
I don't know. I've never tried it, but thanks for the tip.
And how's the family?
Oh, they're all right. Maris is doing a video call in the kitchen. She says, "Hello, Julia." Ha ha ha.
Oh.
I said about Maris. She just laughed.
Fair enough. And are you involved in any homeschooling?
No, not really. Not me personally. I just get shouts from bedrooms saying, "I can't do it, Dad. I can't do it."
And you don't go up there and help, because I mean I know you do accountancy, so surely mathematics is something that you would be able to bring to the table.
Oh yeah. But I'm working myself while they're working, you see.
Oh, I see. Do you never get much?
Home.
You can't tell me you don't get much time off. A man of your international fame and stardom.
Oh well, I'm internationally infamous more than famous.
Right.
No, I get finished about 4:30, and if I've got time and the weather's nice,
yes,
I go out and make lovely videos for you and everybody else.
You do, we do, and
we do. I'm not sure about that gimbal thing though. That looks a bit faffy for me.
Is it?
I just use what do you call it again? A selfie stick. It works wonders.
Yes.
It even works wonders with the GoPro.
Well, the thing is, I mean, some of these phones. Have you seen these phones now? They've got stabilisation in them. You don't need any gimbals and bits of. You don't need anything other than one of these modern phones. I'm absolutely amazed when I was watching good old Gabriel's stuff, and I assume that's.
Oh, I love him! What a star!
It's so static. It's no camera shake, no handshake. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, my phone has that many apps on it to make decent pictures like that. I wonder why. Well, it was a birthday present. I got the GoPro for my 50th birthday, folks.
Oh.
Yes, I'm 50.
When did that happen?
March.
Oh, March. We must have missed it.
Well, you did, but I got a happy birthday off everybody else.
Oh, did you?
So thanks.
Yeah, I missed. Was it on Facebook?
It was indeed, young man. It was indeed.
I don't look at Facebook.
No, you don't. Not very often.
I don't. It's really weird, and people must think that I'm very rude. But I put my stuff on Facebook. I never look at my the news feed. I never look at it because there's people ranting about something. There's people moaning about something. There's people showing them their food, and I haven't got time. Just don't have time for all that nonsense.
I know.
But at the same time, two-faced as I am, I expect them to watch my videos.
You've got to give and take, Richard.
I know.
You've got to give and take.
I just take.
It's not Kevin ranting about politics. It's
well, exactly.
The lovely Mr. Suggett in his garden, or Mark Selwood up in the sky filming. It's wonderful.
Yes.
You should watch more often.
I know. Well, if I had the time, I'm out there making a video every day and then doing a reading of a book, or I'm doing the Vobes show, or some other stuff. Making bread now, anything to get off a screen.
Oh, God, yeah. You should try Three Men in a Boat. That is a very good read.
It is. Jerome K. Jerome. I have read it.
It's very funny.
I did have it, but I'm not sure. I have got it on my shelf. It's probably in the other room somewhere. It is hilarious, and I would like to do it because it's only up the road in Godalming.
That would be absolutely brilliant. Get Kevin or Lively Mark from, from where is he from?
I think
From Cornwall, isn't it?
Kevin and Mark Selwood and myself, it would be a hoot.
Richard, I'd have to change my underpants every 5 minutes with pissing myself laughing at it. It would be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I've just got to go and check the bread.
Yes, you go and check your bread.
Stay on the line.
Okay, I'll stay on the line, yeah.
I'm just going to go and check the bread. I won't be able to...
Go and check your bread, mate, yeah.
I won't be able to hear anything, so no swearing whilst I'm away.
Oh, gosh, no.
Right, I've just gone into the kitchen here. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. I didn't need it. It's not a bad-looking thing. I think that's probably... Ow. That's probably done. So I'm going to take this out of the oven. Oh, I probably need to take this other thing out.
I always wondered what that Essie looked like. Oh, very rustic.
I'll take this.
Oh, there he goes.
That will be very hot. I'm going to leave that on the floor. I'm going to shut the oven down.
That looks very nice, I must admit. Oh.
And I'm going to bring this into the studio.
It looks very nice.
So, I am now back in the studio. Are you still there?
I'm still here, yes. It looks very nice.
It smells absolutely divine. It's very, very hot. And so what I tend to do, once it's done, and you'll get this a few seconds later, because everybody else will be hearing it as I do it, but because of the weird, complicated nature of the system, I've now just let that air. But that does look, it is quite hot, but I'll just give everybody a look at that. That looks like something you would buy.
Well, there you go. That could be like a second career for you.
And I've worked out that cost me 40p.
And you could sell that for £1.
You could.
As your accountant, I advise you to sell that for £1. That's worth £1 of anyone's money.
Well, I mean, if you were to take in the fuel...
Even more.
Take in the
fuel.
Look at
that. Yeah.
I know. Now you can see it. It looks like real bread.
That's because it is real bread, isn't it?
I know. But isn't that the strangest thing? When you make something yourself and it turns out actually just like something you can buy, which are very few things that you can do that with, you suddenly think, oh my God, it's like real. And then as you say, but it is real.
It's a bit small, but, small is beautiful, as they say.
Well, you're quite right. I do need to buy a slightly bigger tin and then just increase the ingredients. However,
absolutely.
It is small, and you could do with one perhaps a bit deeper and get a bit more rising in there. I've still got a lot to learn. But that said, that will last me a couple of days. Maybe
little acorns, Richard, little acorns.
Absolutely. I'll soon have an oak tree.
Absolutely. Then Julia can come and hug it. Hello, Julia.
Yes, indeed. That's right. Well, Julia loved the loaf I did before, so I just need to find some more people.
That actually looks really nice. Admittedly, you know me, I'm as potty mouthed as they come, and I would say if I didn't like the look of it.
Yeah.
But it actually looks really, really nice. Well done.
I know.
Get you.
Get
Who
me.
you?
I am absolutely... That's why I'm so excited, because the first 3 or 4 loaves were just absolutely abysmal. And then suddenly the hallelujah moment happened.
Yeah, you have had an epiphany.
I have indeed.
You've had your road to Damascus on a lovely cottage loaf.
Absolutely. I can't wait to open that up now. Can't wait to have a slice. But I've still got I've got to finish the other one, which is why I don't want to...
Yeah, you don't want to ruin your teeth.
No, exactly. But there you go. How lovely is that?
It is wonderful, Richard. I shall have to let you go now.
Righto, Squire. Lovely to... Okay. Thank you so much for ringing. Nice to talk to you.
That's not a problem. I've been to call for a while, but I've been so busy.
It's understandable.
I'm not furloughed like most of the people I know.
No.
People on the group. So I have to work, but I'll be back in touch, no worries.
Good man. Well, we're looking forward to once this lockdown is over, is making a journey north.
Yes, I keep meaning to come to journey south, would you believe? Yes.
Yeah. Well, it'll all happen.
Life got in the way, but I will come south very soon now.
No problem.
So, Kevin, tell Kevin to get the kettle on.
I will. All right, take care.
All right, Richard.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
There we go. Lovely Robert Croser there, all the way from Cumbria. Or, as I keep reading in the books I'm reading, Cumberland, which is lovely, slightly twee. And probably what it's called. People are telling me that I could sell that for £2.50. Mike Dixon says posh loaves in Hove cost £3.25. God, the markup on it. And so it's costing something like 40p. And if you've bought a big bag of flour, that you probably get that down to perhaps 25p or something. The markup, that is very beautiful. I have to say that is even nicer than the one I gave to the lovely Julia. Has it got that mark on the bottom? Oh, a little bit of the mark, but no, that's it. And it smells brilliant. Andrew Norris has been out and about. Let's find out what Andrew Norris is. This was filmed in the days before COVID came along, just before we were all locked down. Mustn't forget Andrew. Bless him. He sent this in, and as he says, he's updated it. So enjoy this, a little journey on a tractor.
Eva, I'm in a village with my good friend Johnny, and he's offered to give me a lift home on his tractor. It's the only way to travel in the village. Here we go. Got to hold on tight. The beauty of the tractor is that it moves at the pace of a horse trotting. You can look around you, you can see everything blossom on the trees. Oh, hello. There's a new dog in the village. Never seen that dog before. 56 years old is this tractor. Koja marka, je li Ursula?
Eicher.
Eicher. Odakle je?
Eicher Autriska.
Aha, it's an Austrian tractor. And here we have on the right the football pitch. The local football team. The only flat piece of ground in the village.
How about that, eh? Oh, that's so lovely. Love to ride on an old tractor like that. We did. We went to the tractor festival, Julia and I, a couple of years ago, and it was interesting looking at the tractors, but we didn't really get to ride on some of the old tractors. So very envious of you there, Andrew. And those old Croatian houses, they're just lovely. And you can imagine that in Croatia, of course, they most likely still use these old family traditions. And I bet they make their own bread over there. And I'm sure it tastes gorgeous, which is really nice. Thank you so much for sending that in. I'm sorry that we forgot to play it in before. But, you know, things got a little bit weird with the lockdown and then doing shows every single night. And if anybody sent me stuff, I think Kevin said he sent a video in or a couple of videos, and the WeTransfer file expired. So because I tend not to download them till about an hour and a half before the show. We have a phone call. Let's find out who that is. Hello to you.
Hello to you.
Hello. Hello, Richard. How are you?
You worked it out. I'm very well, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, no, very good, thank you. Thank you for sending in the test footage of your gimbal.
That's all right. As I said, I said to you anyway, it literally was just test footage to see how it worked out. It wasn't meant to be any sort of film or anything.
No, but I think this is, this is a perfect platform for people to send bits and pieces. You put a voiceover on. We understood what you were doing. It was I think people were interested, whether they want to buy one or not buy one. It's, that's exactly the sort of thing one can get away with on this show.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes. Well,
what do you
I've
think?
learned a few more things about it as well recently. So,
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
I will be interested to find out more. What did you think of my loaf of bread?
Looks very good, actually. I'm wondering what it looks like on the inside, so I'm hoping you're going to take a picture tomorrow and share it with us.
Oh, yes, that's a good idea. I am very tempted to cut a slice off, because the trouble is it does smell so nice. But I'm assuming that once you do cut that slice, because I've still got about a third of my other loaf to have, and so that's why I thought, I probably gobble that up. I might have a sandwich in a minute, try and finish the other loaf, which is delicious, by the way. And but this is really nice. Andrew Murphy said, "Can we take orders?" And it would be great, actually, to send a couple of loaves out to people, but I don't know how I would get them to them, because I'd, suddenly need a very stout cardboard box. And suddenly, sending food through the post is not ideal.
And postage and packaging would probably cost 4 times as much as a loaf would cost.
I know. That is the shame. How bakers make money, I don't know. But
well, that's why so many are struggling.
Yes. And of course, getting the flour at the moment. Getting flour is quite tricky. Morrison's have been doing them in. Well, I think this must be a bit of an unusual thing. They've been putting their flour into. They've obviously got big bags of it, and they've just been putting them into 1 kilogram little bags and charging 60p. And I imagine that, and it gives you a sell-by date. I don't suppose they've been doing that normally. I think they probably just, rely on whatever. But people have bought all the other flour, and flour seems to be hard to get.
Yes, well, I think the bakery program that's just started hasn't helped with that. It's suddenly got more and more people interested in baking.
Oh, right. Oh, you see, I've done this completely from one simple recipe, and what with Mark Donny McLeod's assistance as well. That's all I've not looked at videos, funnily enough. Normally I'd go to YouTube. But I haven't done that, and I just followed the directions and just experimented myself.
You went old school.
I went old school. You see, there is part of me that, although I love all this digital stuff and everything that we're doing, there's still part of me that has one foot in the analogue world.
Yeah.
In the old.
I'm sure we all do.
And well, you say that, but I mean, my kids, they don't know analogue. Everything's digital because they haven't been brought up that. You're probably just, I can't remember how old you are. Mid-30s?
25.
Stop it. You're not 25. It must be at least 26. You had a birthday recently.
You had me there. I did last week, yeah. I'm 38.
38, there we go. Mid to late 30s. So you're just outside that generation. So you probably just about have a foot in the analogue world. Plus the fact that you're an engineer, so you know mechanical things.
Well, I've got to say, in terms of engineering experience, the analogue stuff is a lot easier to fix.
I bet it is, yeah.
Cheaper to fix if you can get the parts.
Dawn Coping says you can put bread in special bags that keep food 8 times longer. Oh, right.
Yes, I've got some of those somewhere.
And Ron Langley says, if we weren't on lockdown, I would travel from Bognor to take one off your hands, Richard. You see, I could cook, I could bake, because the thing is, it is in my Essie. I mean, my Essie is a marvellous little oven in there. Yeah. And it's, 18 months old now, something like that. And it's sort of run in. It's now run in. Yeah. And this is the quality of the loaf that you make.
The only risk that with this, and I'm going to be a bit of a party pooper, but the EHA might get involved because you're not a kitchen, and if you're doing it to sell,
yes,
they don't like it.
No, and absolutely, and I have no time really to do it. I mean, it's a lovely idea to give it to a couple of friends as gifts or what have you, or a contribution to the. But if it's costing me 40p, then what's the contribution? The thing is, I light the Essie every day, And I just suddenly started to think, well, if I bake my own bread, and today I just did it without filming. The other day I filmed myself, which took, as you know, what it's like filming, takes for bloody ever. Film all this, refilm stuff, and move the camera and do this, and then of course it all looks like it all happened. And I only use one camera, so all the cuts have to match. And but today I finished my editing, and about 4:30 I started to just put the bread together, knead it and pummel it, and it was sort of done by about 5 o'clock. So that the first bit was half an hour. Then I had to wait 2 hours before I could then do the next kneading, another hour, the next kneading, then the show comes up. But it's great because you can fit it. It doesn't take long, really. You've got all these periods in between which you can do other things. But you just got to be around. That's all. You've got to be around when you bung it in the oven. But the S is on. The S is on.
Yeah.
So, you know, if every other day or every third day I make a loaf of bread, fantastic.
Well, that's all you need. However, when I walked into Littlehampton town earlier today, there was a stand in the middle of the town centre giving away bread.
Really? What was interesting is in Morrison's, when I went in, they had a whole load of loaves right at the front, and this was at 8 o'clock in the morning on discounted price. I reckon people have been buying flour, making their own bread, and not buying it.
Yeah. That's the impression I'm getting as well.
They can't get rid of it.
They can't get rid of it.
It's an interesting. It's very interesting because I think the lockdown has actually forced people to do a lot of things for themselves because they don't want the risk to go shopping as often as they perhaps once did. And because people have got a bit of time on their hands, perhaps they're trying these old crafts, and bread making as old as the hills, and very rewarding because you can eat it, just as what you're doing in the vegetables, you know, growing vegetables. And I said in the Naked Englishman, I think, only the other day or this morning or whenever, how noble it is to do these primeval things, to plant a seed and nurture it and grow it and eat it. I think what you do is absolutely brilliant, and people should be watching what you do much more than what I do, because you're because you're showing people how to feed themselves.
Well, I do think that is a very, very important thing, and
it's very important.
We in this modern day and age, I think I've said this before, we spend so much time working that we don't have time to do these ordinary,
absolutely agree with you.
Things.
Absolutely agree with you.
If we have more time like we have now, and we can save more money doing it this way, why do we need to work so much?
Well, and the other thing is a lot of people are able to work at home because they no longer have to spend 2 hours travelling because they can't because of lockdown, and they've found ways around it. They've got more time. They could use that commuting time to nurture their lives by nurturing plants and growing plants, baking bread, making cheese. That will be the next thing on my list. Make some cheese. Because buying milk would be a problem because they don't want to buy homogenised milk. Trying to find milk from a dairy would be the proper thing.
There's raw milk for sale in a farm down the bottom of Berry Hill.
Oh, right. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Linda Cadman says, you can make me a loaf, Richard. I'm only in Shoreham and I can pick it up. There we go. See, the people are getting their orders in. Rami Boo's reminded me that if you've enjoyed the show, I've gone out to my way, ladies and gentlemen, to cook bread live on the show. Give us a thumbs up. That's got to be worth it. Ed Loud says you could make a couple of loaves and stick one in the freezer. If you slice it first, even better.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So sliced bread is better in the freezer? Oh, because it defrosts easier.
Yeah.
You could set up a system of barter. That's a good idea. Bread for veggies and fruit. Yeah, go back to the old ways.
Yeah. Well, I've got a video coming out tomorrow of where I've made dandelion honey.
Sounds lovely. Dandelion honey, ladies and gentlemen.
Dandelion honey.
On the Veg Grower podcast. How it used to be. Well, that would be absolutely fantastic. I've just noticed the time is ticking on. Richard, wonderful to talk to you. People should go and watch your videos. Veg Grower podcast tomorrow. Dandelion honey. How to make it. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was quite an eye-opener for me because I've never made it before.
Oh, and what have we got here? He can barter Richard's loaf for one of Richard Suggett's wife's lemon drizzle cake. Somebody, who was it? I think it was. Somebody sent me a link to lemon drizzle cake. I know who it is, but I can't bring his name to my mind. He's going to kick me. He's probably watching now. So that's on the cards. I want to make some lemon drizzle cake because I know the lovely Julia will love that because she loves lovely lemon drizzle cake. So there we go. Brilliant. Richard, lovely to talk to you. Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome. Lovely to talk to you too.
And we'll catch up real soon.
Yeah, will do. You take care.
Fantastic. Look after yourself.
You too. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Don't forget, you can actually watch Richard's show. He does a live show on Facebook on the Veg Grower podcast on a Sunday at 6 o'clock. I don't know if he's doing any more in the week, but definitely on Sundays at 6 o'clock live. You can ring in. I actually nicked the ringing in idea from him, so thank you very much, Richard, for that. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm hungry, says come walk with me. Traditional paritha is fab with chicken tikka. Sounds lovely. Some farmers will sell you live, fresh milk. That's what I need to make cheese. You could do a drone delivery. Oh, yes, if only I could get my drone up and running. You can barter. Yes, that's true. I swap bread for foods made as an artisan friend. There are 250 species of dandelions in the UK. That's interesting, says Richard Upton. Thank you very much. Didn't know that. There we go. Josephine Suter says, I remember the lemon drizzle cake talk, but cannot remember his. Yes, I've got to make some. Anyway, take care. Thank you so much. It's been absolutely fantastic. Let me get back into the main studio, post thing, whatever. And who knows what we're going to do tomorrow. Don't forget to send in your videos. Your videos are the crux of the show. Thank you for all of you who've been sending them in. We've got part 2 of Gabriel's look round Glastonbury, which is brilliant. And then whatever you guys do, hopefully a moment of Murphy and more. Until next time, thank you for watching. Take care. Look after yourselves. Have a nice evening. If only you could smell the bread in here. It is so lovely. And I will catch up with you tomorrow morning reading Narrowboat. And if not that, again here at 8 o'clock with another Vobes show. From me to you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Look at that loaf. Do you know what? You're coming to bed with me. Yeah, you are. I want you next to my pillow so I can smell you all night long. Oh, how lovely.